Henry Johnson here, Digital Home, back at it again. And we had some technical difficulties. My camera battery died. I recently moved, so I have no clue where the charger is, but the show must go on. So, super week in smart homes. Always a lot happening in the industry. Literally things happened today that I'm going to talk about. Yesterday that I'm going to talk about. And I just want to kind of keep you guys abreast of what's going on, as well as things that I'm learning as I'm getting deeper into the industry. So we'll start with, what's kind of happening from a news perspective. I think Amazon really takes the cake there in terms of making a lot of changes in terms of their product. So I'll start with the one that was in the news the most is the Amazon Key. So they released a camera system, as well as that's going to integrate with like a door lock, so that Amazon employees, when you order on Prime, it's Prime only, when they come to deliver, they can come into the house and then place it indoors instead of outdoors. I can only assume that the reason is a lot of people's packages were getting stolen. I guess that happens a decent amount, depending on where you live. I'm personally not letting anybody in my house yet, so, and I'm all over Twitter. Didn't seem like there were many people letting Amazon into their house either. I think it was an interesting release. I don't see the need for it yet, for me at least. I haven't had that many packages stolen that I'm willing to let somebody go into my house and potentially steal everything. So, interesting. I think I listened to a home tech podcast that about a use case. They were saying, like, if you lived in an apartment building, if they had that, so Amazon could unlock the door and then leave it in like a common hallway, it may make sense, which I think I'd be more comfortable with. But in terms of coming into my house and leaving it in my apartment, I'm not quite there yet. So that's one thing Amazon did. Number two, which was more interesting to me, was that the Alexa now is going to have the ability to do scenes, right? So you'll be able to say things like, I don't want to say Alexa because I have one over there, but you'll be able to say things like echo, good night, and maybe your good night scene would say it cut off the lights, bring your shades down, and other things that interact with Alexa will be able to communicate during that. For what it sounds like, it's not going to work with like playlists or anything like that yet. I'm not sure if that means no Spotify or not Apple Music definitely, or Amazon Music or anything like that integration. But we're going to see. And I'm definitely going to be somebody who's going to use it as I continue to get this apartment set up in a smart way, putting some Caseta lights throughout it, some Lutron Serena shades, and things of that nature. So I'm pretty excited for that. And I think it spells a bad future for control systems, which I'm going to be interested to see, because, our business does do a lot of work with control systems, right? We're a big Savant dealer. We do a lot with, we recently signed up with Crestron and have signed a pretty significant deal, and have a few more coming. So control systems are a big part of our business, but a big part of me doing this weekly video is I want to make sure that we're staying ahead of what's happening in the industry, because we are not a control system, right? I don't make Savant, although I make money off of it. If I have to go away from it in the future, then we have really no problem doing that. I represent for Digital Home and making this transition to smart homes for everybody around. So I'm going to be interested to see how this affects control systems like Savant, like Crestron, like Control4, Elon, et cetera, because Amazon is coming strong for the smart home, and the more they continue to integrate like this, the worse it gets for control systems. Another thing with Amazon kind of coming at control systems is it was always like the audio video aspects of things was always difficult. It seemed for a lot of these large manufacturers, right? Nobody control like if you get a Apple HomeKit, you can't control your music, your TV, etc. with it. So at the end of the day, you still need to have multiple apps and multiple control in your home. So it's a smart home, but it's not nearly as compact and full as something like a Crestron or Savant system. Amazon just announced that they're also going to be partnering with Dish so that you can control your TV with your Alexa. So again, another interesting announcement by Amazon in regards to their working to be able to take control of the entire home, so that you'll now be able to say, Alexa, turn to channel 5, Alexa, turn to this movie, Alexa, turn the volume up, etc. Which is big. For me, I still see it as more of an apartment or few room solution. I don't want to have to put Echoes in every single room in my house in order to work with it. I don't think that's what you would do in a luxury in a home. Period. Right? I don't think you put these things all around your home in order to interact with them. But things like Origin Acoustics have released these in-ceiling speaker holders for the Echo Dot, which is interesting to make it really something that can go more around the entire house. So it's going to get really interesting in the next few years, maybe months, as fast as Amazon's moving in regards to how they're coming at the smart home. I think at least to kind of calm nerves of people who do have like control systems like Savant, like Crestron, like Control 4. They also interact with Alexa, so you're not getting phased out in terms of your technology. But it is obvious that Amazon is coming for this space, and it's just going to be interesting to kind of see what happens moving forward. The next thing I want to talk about was just the smart thermostat systems out there. So I'm currently working on a job. I'm proposing it to somebody, and the guy asked me about smart thermostats. Right? We proposed the Savant thermostat because we're doing a Savant system for him, and with that, he also obviously heard of the Nest, which seems like most, if you're interested in smart homes, you probably heard of Nest. So he was just like, I heard that Nest may be better than the Savant system. What's kind of your thoughts? So with that, and I had my answer for that one pretty standard, because I was the week before looking at Nest versus Ecobee for a job. So I'll give the 3 comparison, right? So I think they're all good products. Although, let me stop. I haven't installed Ecobee yet. I do think we're going to be potentially installing in this next client. I think they all seem to be good products. I've read a lot of reviews. It seems like people are saying that Ecobee is even better than the Nest thermostat. What I think separates Nest from really the rest is the smarts in it. It seems to have the most capabilities around learning your routine and then being able to adjust because of that. The challenge that it has is it doesn't communicate with anything else. So the only way that it really learns your routine is if you walk past it, right? So if you have your Nest thermostat in some place that is not a central location, it really does become a little more obsolete, sorry. And if you are in a larger home, right, just because you're not walking past your Nest thermostat on the top floor, like on the second floor, and you're walking past the one on the first floor, the second floor still thinks you're not home, so it goes into away mode. which doesn't make sense to me, right? I think it should still know that you're home so that, if it's the middle of the summer, I'm downstairs, my desk thermostat downstairs knows that I'm home, so the AC is pumping. If I decide to walk upstairs, it shouldn't be a heat box, right? And I think Nest does not do that well. So in like apartments, again, I think that is the optimal solution. That's what I would recommend in small instances. In larger homes that they don't care if they're in a one app scenario, I typically would think Ecobee would be a more friendly choice. And actually, I have to look at like Control 4 now that we're doing Crestron, if they interact with Ecobee better, because if they do, you could still use Ecobee in a larger home while still having one app system. But when I'm trying to do one app, smart thermostats, being able to control it from anywhere in the world, all that kind of stuff, I'm going Savant thermostat all day. And it's because it gives you that one app experience, that one single pane of glass to really control your life. I think that's important. I talked about it last week, and I think I said I'm biased in that. I think I'm biased in. I said I was biased in that because I'm an integrator. I think I'm biased in that because I've lived with these products, and I'm experiencing that now through more people I talk to when I'm proposing a system for them. Is that if they've lived with smart home products before, they don't want multiple apps. Whereas if they've never had a smart home before, it seems that they're more open to having, multiple apps. I think like as an integrator and my job in that is to understand that and understand that, yeah, they may not care about multiple apps now, right, as they're moving into this new home. But for me to prepare to propose this solution that maybe they have 5 apps, but when they come to me in a year, 2 years, or I email them a year, 2 years, like, how's it going? And they go, man, I love it, but I hate managing all these apps. I can say, hey, well, look, you can, upgrade and implement this Savant, system here, and that'll encapsulate everything. Or put this Crestron system here, Control 4, blah, 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 blah. And I think that's important. Or Amazon Alexa, whatever they're doing at the time. I think it's important to really start thinking about that as we approach it, because I think the integrator's position moving forward in this smart home ecosystem is going to be a lot more consultant than it is necessarily just installer, right? I think in the past, one of the big things that separated the integrator from like the common person was that, one, the common person couldn't get their hands on a lot of these products, so they had to buy it through an integrator. And then number two, the integrator knew how to like program, install, and do all that kind of stuff. I think both of those barriers to entry are going away, and the big thing now is going to be just understanding the market, because there are so many different products out there for literally every solution, and it becomes the choice. It becomes there's a lot of complexity in regards to kind of making sure you're making the right decisions. So I think that's where I come in, and that's why I'm doing this, so that I'm making sure that I'm staying abreast of what's going on and how things are working. So with that, I'll kind of talk a little more about something that I experienced this week, and I'll name them, whatever, fuck it. 2 products that I have no real interest in selling anymore, and that's Realtime and Heos. So both good products, right? They both do their job. They, Realtime is great. Camera system. It does the job, right? It's like everything else. A lot of this stuff comes from the same plant in terms of they're made in China. Right next to the FLIR cameras, right next to the Luma cameras, etc. But what separates them is how the businesses are run, and I think it's huge. And for me, and definitely for a average consumer, support is going to be huge. And I think both of those companies do a terrible job. Well, I will specifically talk to IC Realtime because I sat on the phone for 30 minutes with them trying to get on the phone to do something for a client. They got on the phone and we couldn't do it right there. So I couldn't get the job. I couldn't get the job done there. I could have drove to the client. So I was trying to do it remotely. I could have drove to the client and done it, but that would have meant I had to sit on the phone with these guys another 30 minutes to do it. So we scheduled a call for the next day. We get there, didn't have everything we needed to do it because they didn't tell me to do it on support the first day. So now I have to go back tomorrow. So I'm really losing 2 days in terms of installation because the support wasn't good. And for me, I think support is the utmost importance. And something similar happened with one of my installers with Heos. So I just think it's really important. Big reason why a lot of integrators like myself use Snap AV. Literally, anytime you call, they're there to help you. Big reason why I use an iPhone, right? Because if something happens, I just go to the Apple Store. I just think it's as it becomes easier for people to kind of create these products out there, it's going to be more and more important that the way the businesses are run is done right. And today I just wanted to talk about support in that way. I see Realtime, Heos, really hope they step it up. Amazon, I call Amazon support right now. It's amazing. So no worries there for people. And Snap AV, who we use for pretty much all of our back-end stuff, whether that's cameras, NVRs, DVRs, Wi-Fi systems, etc. I think it's a big deal, and I hope more people start thinking about it. So the last thing I'll talk about is another product that I found actually today in an integrated chat that I'm in, and it's called Keen Home. It was really interesting to me because what it does is it's essentially a smart ventilation system for your HVAC, right? So, your vents for your HVAC, you put it on there, and it reads the room's temperature and turns it on or off, and closes or opens the vents based on the temperature that you want the room to be set at. Works with Nest, works with Ecobee. So really interesting in kind of what they're doing. My two things that I was really thinking about as I looked at it is, one, seems like everything needs to go through their Keen IO app, which I'm not a huge fan of. As I said, right, I like the one app experience. And number two, support, right? I don't know what it is yet. So I'm not saying it's not good. I'm just saying I look forward to trying it. I am going to try it when the right scenario comes, or if I could install it in like a friend's house or my parents' house. But thought it was really interesting what they're doing because that is like a gap for Nest specifically, and Ecobee does take in consideration this stuff, but I think adding Keen Home looks like it would help a lot. So I think they're actually started on Shark Tank. I saw them there, but that's neither here nor there. That was 20 minutes I went today, so I won't hold you guys up anymore. I hope the quality is decent because we did this on photo booth. But either way, appreciate you guys listening in. Super Week in Smart Homes, Swish, Episode 2, and I'll see you guys soon. Peace.